And Yossi's coming. You don't have shoes on. Okay, what do we say? Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to bedtime story time. Today, we're going to read a story about, do you know what we're going to read about?
Charity.
Tzedakah, that's right. It's called Quarters and Dimes and Nickels and Pennies. Wait, why'd you do that?
Because it's on calculus.
Okay, are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay, quarters and nickels and dimes and pennies. Like that? You see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jingling. David listened closely to the jingling sounds of the coins as he dropped them into his bright yellow charity can. His mother gave him a few pennies to put into his charity can every morning. That way we begin each day by helping people who have less than we do, she said to him. David didn't understand how the pennies in his yellow can helped poor people, but he liked the way his ears tickled from the sounds of coins made as he dropped them into the can. That's right. Sometimes when David was especially good, Daddy gave him a nickel. And whenever Grandpa came to visit, David earned lots of coins. Grandpa reached deep into his pocket and took out 1 quarter, 1 dime, 1 nickel, and 1 penny. Then he put David on his lap and asked him to name each coin. When David said them all correctly, Grandpa let him keep all the coins. You must always use your money for good things, Grandpa told David. David knew that it was a good thing to put money into his yellow charity can, so he made sure to do that with some of the coins he got from Daddy and Grandpa. And he always listened to the jingling sound. One morning, as David was dropping some pennies into the can, he didn't hear a sound. He lifted the can to see what was wrong, and oh my, it was so heavy. He could barely hold it. David's charity can was filled to the top.
That's what I think going
on. On Sunday, Mommy put the charity can into a bag. Then she took David with her into town. You should be proud that your charity can is full, Mommy said as they walked to the bus station. It will help poor people. David still didn't understand how his full charity can will help poor people, but he felt happy that his mother was proud of him. When they got off the bus, Mommy walked up to a small building on the corner of a busy street. David held her hand tightly. Inside the building, he saw all kinds of people sitting and eating at long tables. The people were wearing old clothing that had patches and holes in them. On the tables were bowls of steamy hot soup, fish patties, and strawberry jelly. Mommy walked over to a plump, kind lady who was serving the food. Hello, Mrs. Goodman. My little boy has a full can for the soup kitchen, Mommy said proudly. We could surely use that here, Mrs. Goodman said, smiling. Then she wiped her hands on a towel and told Mommy and David to follow her into the office. Mrs. Goodman opened the charity can and emptied it onto the desk. Oh, so many coins! David and Mommy helped Mrs. Goodman separate the coins. Quarters in one pile, dimes in another, nickels in a third pile, and of course, piles and piles of pennies. First, Mrs. Goodman counted the piles of quarters. There were 16 quarters in all. Mrs. Goodman marked some numbers on a piece of paper. Then she counted the pile of dimes. There were 26 dimes in the pile. Mommy counted 33 nickels. Mrs. Goodman, Mommy, and David each counted some piles of pennies. There were 171 pennies altogether. Mrs. Goodman added the numbers on the paper. You had $9.96 in your can, she exclaimed. She looked at a long list that was on her desk. Let's see now, she said. That'll help us buy lunch for 2 more hungry people. See her long list. Mrs. Goodman thanked David and handed him a new red charity can. We hope you'll come back when this one is full. Mommy promised that they would, and David said goodbye to Mrs. Goodman. On the way home, Mommy gave David some pennies to put into his new charity can. As usual, Mommy said it will help poor people. David knew what Mommy meant. One by one, he dropped the pennies in and listened carefully. They jingled more noisily than ever before. They must be feeling as good as I do, thought David. And as he skipped to the bus with Mommy, he was sure he heard the coins dancing happily in his new charity can. And that's the end of the story. So what did they do?
They helped the poor people.
They helped the poor people. How did it help the poor people?
It gave them food and drink.
It gave them food and drink because it went into, put it in a can and they brought it to somewhere that could use the money, right?
Yeah.
So every time we put coins into our tzedakah box, it goes to somebody who and helps them who needs help. Yeah. So the people in the story didn't have lots of food, so they went to a place that would help them.
Yeah.
Right?
Take a penny so that they could get food and drink.
That's right. And you can do that too,
Yeah.
right? Now we're going to say what? Our bedtime songs. You ready? Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
Twinkle, twinkle, kochavim, shining in the shamayim. If you say Shema today, everything will be okay. If you Shema today, everything will be all right. Take your right hand, cover your eyes. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta es Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'adecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ela asher anochi metzavecha hayem al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'tivarta bam b'shivtecha b'veisecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shachbecha kumecha v'shatam ni'yisal yadecha v'hayin etzeta v'is beinenecha u'chesavtam amazizis b'eisecha u'visharecha. Say goodnight, everybody. See you next week at bedtime story time.
Bye. 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 Bye.